Wanjiku didn't sleep that night. The images from the video replayed over and over. Brian smiling as Faith placed the ring on his finger, his voice trembling slightly as he said, "I do." By 6 a.m., her eyes were red and swollen. She hadn't cried, not yet. The tears were trapped somewhere deep, as if her body was still in shock. Her phone buzzed, a text from Brian. "Morning, Shiku. I'll pass by later this week. Hope you're feeling okay." She stared at the message, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. Later this week. Hope you're feeling okay. No mention of the fact that he had just married someone else. She didn't reply. Instead, she called her best friend, Carol, who lived in Langata. "Carol, it's true. He's married." A sharp intake of breath on the other end. "Wait, you're sure?" "I saw the video. Shiku, you're 8 months pregnant. What kind of man?" Her voice broke. "Come stay with me. I don't trust what you might do to yourself." By mid-morning, Carol was at her doorstep. She hugged Wanjiku tightly, as if trying to hold together all the pieces that were breaking apart. The following day, Brian showed up. He was wearing a crisp shirt and that cologne she once loved, the one that used to make her feel safe. "Shiku, we need to talk," he began, stepping into her bedsitter. She crossed her arms. "Talk or lie again." His jaw tightened. "Look, things got complicated, Faith. I don't want to hear her name. She's pregnant too. It happened before you and our families." Wanjiku laughed, bitter and sharp. "So what was I? A warm-up act? Don't twist it. I still care about you and the baby." "Care?" Her voice rose. "If you cared, I wouldn't have found out from Facebook." He shifted uncomfortably. "I'll still support the child." That sentence hit her harder than anything else. Support the child. Not be there for us. Not we'll figure this out. Just money, like she was a stranger he had accidentally gotten pregnant. She pointed to the door. "Leave. Shiku, leave." When the door finally shut behind him, the tears came. The days that followed blurred together. Wanjiku barely ate. She sat by the window, watching Matadis rattle down Ngong Road, their graffiti splashes bright against the gray Nairobi skies. Life outside moved on, indifferent to her heartbreak. Carol tried everything, cooking her favorite chapati and dengu, playing old Genjatone hits, even dragging her out for walks. But Wanjiku felt like a ghost, moving through the city. One night, unable to sleep, she wandered through Facebook again. The wedding photos were everywhere. Friends congratulating the beautiful couple. Someone had even posted a slow-motion clip of their first dance under fairy lights. She clicked on Faith's profile. The woman's smile was wide, confident, almost smug. Her captions spoke of God's perfect timing and finding your true love. Wanjiku felt a wave of anger, not at Faith, but at herself, for believing that a baby could chain a man's heart. The baby arrived 2 weeks earlier than expected. It was a rainy Tuesday when Wanjiku's water broke. Carol rushed her to Kenyatta National Hospital, weaving through traffic with the urgency of a matatu driver in a race. The labor was long, exhausting, but when she finally held her daughter, a strange calm settled over her. Tiny fingers curled around hers, warm and fragile. She named her Amara, meaning grace that never fades. Brian came to see the baby once. He brought a stuffed teddy bear and an envelope of money. He didn't hold Amara for long, claiming he had another meeting. That was the last time Wanjiku saw him. Weeks later, Wanjiku stood on the balcony of Carol's apartment, watching the city lights flicker like stars brought down to earth. She realized something. Nairobi was full of stories like hers. Women who had been lied to, abandoned, underestimated. But she was still here, still breathing, still capable of building something for herself and for Amara. She whispered to her daughter, "We don't need him. We'll write our own story." And in that moment, the city didn't feel so cold anymore. The first few months after Amara's birth were the hardest. Wanjiku learned the rhythm of motherhood through exhaustion. The late-night feedings, the endless diaper changes, the lullabies hummed with a voice hoarse from lack of sleep. Money was tight. Carol helped where she could, but Wanjiku knew she couldn't rely on her forever. The little savings she had left were disappearing fast. One Thursday morning, while cradling Amara, she heard the familiar sound of a matatu horn blaring outside. She peered outside and saw the chaos of Nairobi unfolding as usual. Hawkers selling boiled maize, bodas weaving through traffic, people in a hurry to get somewhere. She realized she needed to join them. She couldn't let heartbreak and motherhood cage her. Her first step was calling an old friend, Lucy, who worked at a salon in town. "Shiku, you're alive," Lucy laughed over the phone. "I thought you went to the moon after you got pregnant." "I need work," Wanjiku said simply. Lucy got her a position as a shampoo girl at the salon, just enough to start earning again. The pay was small, but it was something. She left Amara with a trusted neighbor during the day, returning every evening with aching feet, but a small sense of pride. The salon became her refuge. She learned how to braid hair, how to listen to clients pour out their dramas, and how to keep her own face calm, no matter how wild the gossip. Nairobi women came with all kinds of stories: cheating husbands, toxic in-laws, fake friends. And she realized she wasn't alone in her pain. Lucy, always the jokester, would say, "At least your man didn't marry your cousin. I've seen worse." Wanjiku would laugh, even though the wound inside still burned. 3 months into the job, a client changed everything. Her name was Mama Njeri, a wealthy businesswoman from Kilimani. She was loud, stylish, and had the kind of confidence that filled a room. "You're wasted here, my girl," she said as Wanjiku massaged her scalp. "You have a sharp mind. Ever thought about business?" Wanjiku shrugged. "I don't have the money. Money follows ideas. come see me on Saturday. I might have something for you." Saturday came. Wanjiku found herself in Kilimani, walking past leafy fences and guarded gates until she reached Mama and Jerry's mansion. Over cups of strong Kenyan tea, they talked for hours. Mama and Jerry owned several beauty supply stores and was looking for someone young and hungry to manage one. "I can't pay you much in the beginning," she warned, "but if you prove yourself, I'll give you a share of profits." For Wanjiku, it was more than she had dared to hope for. She said yes. That was the day she started building her own future. 6 months into managing the Kilimani beauty store, Wanjiku's life had changed. She could now afford a small 2-room apartment in South B, had hired a loving nanny for Amara, and even managed to save a little each month. Her confidence had returned. She walked with her head high, her hair always neatly done, her clothes clean and professional. Customers respected her. Suppliers greeted her by name, and Mama and Jerry often praised her for the store's growing profits. It was on a Friday afternoon, while arranging shelves of Brazilian wigs, that the past walked right back into her life. She turned around to find Brian standing there. Same charming smile, same confident stance. But this time, he wore a crisp suit and the faint smell of expensive cologne. For a moment, Wanjiku froze. Her heart pounded in her ears. "Shiku," he said softly, as if her name still belonged to him. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice calm but firm. "I was just passing by, and I heard you work here," he said, shifting awkwardly. "You look different, in a good way." She folded her arms. "And your wife, is she also passing by somewhere?" Brian looked down, embarrassed. "We were not together anymore." The confession hit her like a slap. "You married her and left me with a baby," she said coldly. "Now you're here to do what? Apologize." "I just wanted to see you. And the baby. I want to be part of her life," he said, his voice dropping. Wanjiku took a deep breath. She didn't want to make a scene in the shop. "Come on Sunday. We'll talk," she said flatly. Sunday arrived. Brian came to her apartment, looking nervous. Amara was sitting on the carpet, playing with colorful stacking cups. When she saw Brian, she looked up with innocent curiosity. She had no idea this was her father. Brian crouched down, smiling. "Hi, princess." Amara blinked, then reached for another cup, ignoring him. Wanjiku watched the awkward moment in silence. After a while, they sat at the table. "I want to support her," Brian began. "Financially. And if you'll let me, I want to spend time with her." Wanjiku almost laughed. Where was this energy when I was going for clinic visits alone? When I was eating ugali with sukuma every day because I couldn't afford meat? "I made mistakes," he admitted. "I thought marrying someone else was the right choice at the time. I was wrong." The old Wanjiku might have melted. But the new Wanjiku had learned the hard way. Trust wasn't given, it was earned. If you want to be in her life, you'll prove it with actions, not words, she said. Weeks turned into months. To her surprise, Brian actually kept showing up. He brought diapers, milk, and sometimes toys for Amara. He took her to Uhiru Park on weekends, always returning her on time. But Wanjiku didn't let herself get emotionally attached again. Her focus stayed on her business. By the end of the year, Mama and Jerry made good on her promise. Wanjiku received a small profit share from the store. She used it to open a side hustle, an online page selling natural hair oils and beauty accessories. She marketed heavily on ins,